Hello, everybody. Welcome to WASD 24 Mini Painting Adventure Part 2. We are going to be painting a miniature. I am joined by a very special guest. Would you please introduce yourself?
I am Jake. Oh, wait, I did that wrong. Hey, internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain.
There you go. So, Jake, we had the Part 1 of the Mini Painting Adventure on your channel last week, Thursday. And now we are here for Part 2. I want to thank our live viewers here. If you are wondering, how did I miss this? And you're watching it later, just remember that I post this stuff on Twitter and Facebook usually. And you can even subscribe to Facebook events, and that way you'll never miss an event. I think you can do that with YouTube stuff too. You can like get notifications, sign up for notifications for the channels you like. So, oh yeah, we've got a little crowd here. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hey, it's Prupra.
We got Prupra again, all the way from Denmark.
Where was it? Denmark.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
And if I remember correctly, that means it's like 3 in the morning over there.
Yeah.
Must be those feisty rabbits waking her up again.
Yep, that's right. I think I had it on me the whole time, Jake. I'm not sure if that happens. But anyway, we got 21 viewers so far, so that's awesome. I'm sure we'll have a few more join in here. And I'm going to take this first little time to talk about the contest that I did. Jake, you can feel free to start painting your miniature. This is Barnabas Frost. Oh, this is really bright. I'm getting the washed out look here because my light is right on it. But you can kind of see him there. You'll see him better once we start painting. And we're going to be finishing this guy up. But the prize winners, many people are here, I'm sure, to hear who the 20,000 subscriber prize giveaway winners are. We had some pretty cool adventure hooks. So how it worked, and there's a video on my channel you can go back and watch. We had a contest in which people, people had to write a 75-word or less adventure hook for a role-playing game session. Could be anything, sci-fi, fantasy, whatever. And they had, many people had submitted. I think we got like 40 or so entries. So that's awesome. I had about 7 people helping me out, or I guess me and 6 others, judging these. And I put a document together, and we kind of chose a few that each of us chose 3 to 5 that we liked. And we came out with some pretty clear winners. So I'm going to announce those now, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to screen share here if it'll let me screen share to a different monitor since I have 2 monitors. I've never done this before. Okay. And we'll scroll up 3rd to 1st. That's what we're gonna do here to preserve the drama. All right, let me try. Oh, I don't see the screen share option. Oh, there it is. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's under the dots.
Okay. I think we got it here. All right. So 3rd place, here it is. This is Craig McCormick. He says, "Hey Nate, congrats on 20K. Here's my entry." And his was one of the shortest ones. I think it was maybe the shortest one. And yet the judges liked it. An abandoned jungle town is situated on a nest of giant ants. The local ants had managed to keep them at bay through worship, sacrifice, and battle. But now they have been driven from the land, and the ants are free to rise. So yeah, really cool. Very unique. So congratulations, Craig. Talking about the prizes in a minute here. R.L. Bays, 2nd place. Congrats, he says. "I've started playing D&D after about a 30-year hiatus, and your videos have been invaluable. Thank you, Nate. So here's my hook. While bragging about past adventures over many pints of ale, the table is approached by a gnome who says he is in the employment of a wealthy high elf named Welverin, who will pay handsomely for your kind services. Welverin believes a long-lost family scroll may be among the loot. Maybe among the loot that has found its way to an abandoned wyvern cavern. Keep what you find," he says, "but return the scroll to me." I love that. It's just kind of classic, you know. It's nothing fancy or crazy. It's just classic, and it makes me want to play. So congrats, RL Bays. In first place, a hook for a Horror 5e campaign that's in development. This is Shadow Wolf 332, who I think I might have seen in the chat here tonight, or maybe I'm wrong. Years have passed since a wandering paladin affected your lives. He helped you with your first adventures and inspired you to quest. Now you get a letter from his hometown inviting you to his funeral. You're all told when you arrive that ever since the paladin's death, murders and kidnappings plague the nights, as well as rumors of twisted beasts of flesh emerging from the swamps. Investigate these horrors and figure out how they're connected to the paladin's death. Super cool. So,
very cool.
Yeah, those are our winners. I'll be messaging you in case you're not watching winners, but congratulations to you. And now the prizes we'll talk about for a second here. I got to stop the screen share. There we go. And then we'll get on with the painting here. Let's see. The prizes. So first off, Absolute Tabletop gave me an extra t-shirt when I ordered one, and this is a size large. And I'm going to ask those winners basically, what's your first and second choice of prize? First will get first choice, second will get second choice, third will get what's left basically. So that is a size large Absolute Tabletop t-shirt, really nice black cotton t-shirt. Also, there is a PDF from Absolute Tabletop that I will be buying for one lucky winner. So that will be any PDF on Absolute Tabletop's website, absolutetabletop.com. So you can go check that out and tell me which one you want, if you're one of the winners, if that's your first or second choice. And then, lastly, these really nice dice from Norse Foundry. These are the RPG metal dice set, very nice heavy dice from Norse Foundry. These are the bronze dragon scale finish, so pretty sweet dice.
Yes, please. I'll take those. Yeah,
seriously. These were the hardest one to give away. I was like, I need to make the last prize something that's going to hurt a little bit. Really, to give back. It hurts a little bit, but I've got enough dice. So we're going to get down to the painting now. I'm going to move the camera. This might be a bit shaky. But Jake, how are you doing on your mini here? Have you finished it while I was doing the prize giveaway?
Yeah, I'm not that fast. I just figured out what color I wanted to make his pants. And I have all my colors selected, which I didn't have last week.
I still don't, so, So, yeah, here's mine.
Well, most of my colors.
Yeah, Jake, you basically had the skin done and the boots, right? Last time?
Yeah, because I spent the whole session talking, basically.
Yeah, and now I'm going to do that. In fact, I should probably go check the chat soon here. But, yeah, I've got I've got a lot of it done, but I was telling Jake beforehand that the black was really glossy, especially in some of the recesses for my first coat. And so I went back right before we went live, and I put a quick coat of black on his coat, on most of his coat. And I got to do a little bit more here. I actually have to cover up some of my highlights just because I don't like the glossiness of it. I'm not sure what happened there, and I'm not sure if it'll get better or if it's my black paint. But my thought is maybe I didn't shake it well enough at first.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Jake, you want to point your camera down at yours? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I will in a second. Actually, I wanted to kind of real quick before I show my mini. I wanted to talk about a couple things real quick. As I said twice now. So that's going to be double quick. So first and foremost, because I promised her I would do this, this is the first live cast of which I am drinking from what I have dubbed the Chalice of Cassandra. This is a handcrafted mug from Absolute Tabletop family, Cassie, who runs the site Porch Pottery, which is on Facebook, and she has an Etsy store as well, where you can get your own Cassie handmade ceramics. And what's great is I just discovered that this mug is exactly big enough to hold a 12-ounce beer.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Which cool. I just drained, but I have another one here on reserve. The other thing that I want to announce, we just kind of announced it on Facebook yesterday. but myself and Drake Warren, also from the Absolute Tabletop community, as well as other online community stuff known as the RPG Construct, just announced yesterday that beginning in January, we will be launching our brand new podcast called Something RPG-ish. That's
cool.
what it's called.
Nice.
You can find us on. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, and eventually we will. Excuse me, I'm working through the logistics, but we're going to be. You'll be able to download, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes as well as Podbean.
Very cool. I like me some podcasts, so I could definitely handle another RPG podcast in my life.
Well, of course, as we were talking about off air, at some point, undetermined point in the future, Nate will most assuredly be reserved a guest spot on our podcast to talk about what we don't know yet.
Yeah, that was one of the requirements for giving your plug. I said, I'll let you plug that if you promise to have me as a guest at some point. Yeah, I'm selfish and petty.
So here's the current state of my Barnabas Frost.
Nice. I can see him way better than last time, Jake.
Yeah, I've kind of adjusted my lighting a little bit. While I'm painting, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but that's one of my goals with the new year is to kind of rework things out here and make it definitely more friendly to the lighting. I did decide to go with khaki for the pants, and I'm going to be doing some shades of blue for his jacket. And actually, I decided his undercoat, his vest, is probably going to be like an olive color.
Cool.
And nice. I think I'm pretty confident that I can move through a lot of this pretty quickly in the next hour.
Yeah.
As long as I stop showing off my mini and get back to painting. Looks like we got a lot of people watching tonight.
Yeah.
Hanging out. So thanks to everybody that's here. I know I'm not used to this. I'm about a quarter of your level in terms of overall exposure. So
yep. But
lots of new faces for me. So if you like what you're seeing, I'm going to shamelessly plug Mini Terrain Domain on YouTube.
Absolutely.
To watch live games, terrain crafting tutorials, and things like that.
Yeah. I'm going to I've had a request for some honorable mentions, some people who got close. So I'm going to shout out a couple of those real quick. If it'll let me. I'm in a Google form and it's only letting me see like the first line. Shoot. Let me try. Okay, I can do this. Okay, so coming in close, I'll read two more. And I don't know who they're from. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm not prepared. I was not prepared for honorable mentions. Let me do one thing here. If I search my Google or my YouTube comments, they have a search bar in YouTube comments, which I thought is awesome. Okay, here we go. Yeah, if you go to your comments in your dashboard, comments, then you can search. I found it. This is from Ben Buckner. Coins of the purest gold have been discovered in circulation in a busy town. They are minted with the visage of the current ruler and a skull instead of the usual emblems. The city's treasurer wants to know who's creating these new, more valuable coins and why. A gangster wants to find the creator or the process for their own ends, and a group of mercenaries just wants to get paid. So much intrigue. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I'll do one more here that was kind of close to the top three. Let's see. Okay. Oh, wait, no, that was one of the winners. Where's the other one? Oh, yeah, this one, I think, I remember. Yeah. Okay, Group of Adventure, Immortality. I think I can find this here. Okay. This is from Brandon Perkins, and this one is super unique. I just love it. And I told him that in the comments. You are a group of adventurers that has found the key to immortality centuries ago. However, now that you have tasted life to its fullest, you're tired, and life has lost its luster. Your quest is to find a way to die. So cool.
That's very cool.
I can't go any higher, so I'm just going to find a glorious way to die. Anyway, so that was Brandon Perkins. So very cool. All right, that's all I'm going to do. I know people want to get theirs read, but that's all I'll do for now. We'll get down to some miniature painting here, and I'll try to make some progress. Let's see here if I can find. I'm going to try to keep the chat up still.
I remember what colors I used. What colors I used last week, because while painting the pants, I just got I got some of the paint on the boots. Just have to touch that up.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope this is the right one. I don't think that is. What is that color?
Oh, Trolux. I haven't seen you in forever. Hi, dude. And I love that name too.
Yeah, it sounded like some of the hooks you had in there are some very classic D&D type.
Yeah.
Which I want to get. I've been trying to think about that. Some of the things that I've never done before. That I want to run, because I think, especially with 5th edition, you have things like Kobold Press's Tome of Beasts, you got Volos.
Yep.
And everybody's trying to, myself included, trying to wow the players with these awesome new spectacular beasts.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't really do much with a lot of the classics. Like,
yes.
I want to do something with Umber Hulks, Hook Horrors.
Yeah.
Medusas.
Yep, I hear you, man.
Yeah. I want to do some more classic style.
Yep. Yeah, and that Volo's Guide is great for that. I still need to do a video on Volo's Guide. I know you have a good review. Everyone go check out Jake's review of Volo's Guide. It was awesome. I'm probably not going to do a review because I just haven't had time to read much of it. But I definitely want to do like a what is Volo's Guide video or something like that. I'm doing this thing, so it's going to be loud for a second. Here we go. I got one of these at Jake's recommendation.
I'm about to do mine too. We'll do it in tandem.
Yay! Everyone plug your ears. I'll go conservative that first year so I don't melt it.
What I do is, if you
keep going, I'm listening.
I do this. I do really quick back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So you're never putting direct heat on it, because you'll melt that thing fast if you just kind of hold it in place.
Yep. Yeah, I can already feel it's a little bit softer than it was, but anyway. Oh, you know what? I smell it.
Yeah, you might, if that's a brand new heat gun, you might be picking up some of the
I think that's it.
You might be picking up some of the oils just that are in it from the manufacturing.
Yeah.
It'll, after a few uses, either that'll go away or you'll just get used to it and not notice it anymore.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it. Because it was kind of smoking a little bit out the tip of that thing.
Yeah, it's just oils that were in it because you haven't used it yet.
Okay. Cool. So I got a wet palette here. That some of the paint is still a little bit wet from last time, a week ago.
Huh. That wet palette was a relatively new concept to me. I heard about it a while ago on. I don't remember where it was. I think you might have mentioned it in one of your videos.
Yeah, I had a video from about a year ago or something about making a homemade wet palette. Which can work fine.
It may very well be that I learned it from you. I learned it from watching you, okay?
Sure. I'll take that.
I'll give you the credit because I don't remember. All right, that's enough time on the bands.
So I think what that black I know I'm going to do is red here.
I think what I'm going to do right now, what I'm going to try doing to kind of speed things up for myself is I'm going to focus on just the solid colors and get all those laid down and then go back and start doing some of my dry brushing highlights on each of the colors. Because that part usually goes really fast. Yep, totally.
And I don't know if I'm going to be, I was thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to be doing any dry brushing on him. Maybe a little on his beard. But I think if I do dry brushing, I usually have to do it pretty quick or else I get it everywhere and I make a mess. So it's usually got to be one of the first steps for me if I'm going to do it.
I'm actually pretty happy with pre-dry brushing or shading the way the pants are turning out, even with the brown boots. They're looking pretty good there. So I think I'm going to go on to his vest. I'm still torn on what color to do his beard and hair.
Yeah.
I'm leaning heavily toward the flaming red beard. Good old like Tormund Giantsbane kind of red. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see here.
I'm going to post a link to the winners because people are asking who won. I'm going to post this on WASD20, the Facebook page. So let me do that a second. So people can go to facebook.com/WASD20net, N-E-T. Go check that out.
There's a couple people commenting about the wet palette. Ben Buckner says wet palettes are amazing. Prupra says wet palette love. I don't paint minis, but I use it for my paintings.
Nice. Yeah, they're great. And I bought one finally because it was like the homemade one works. You can do that okay with some wax paper, parchment paper, I guess, and like a paper towel or sponge. But I saw one on Amazon. It's like, oh, this is only like $13, and it's got a nice sealing lid. And anyway, so I just did it.
So I guess my question then is, it seems to me that the whole purpose of the wet palette is to kind of keep the paint you're using fresh.
Yes.
And particularly if you're custom mixing colors. And so then I guess my question is, does it matter what kind of paints you're using? As long as they're, I would assume, water-based.
Yeah, I think they got to be water-based. So any kind of like acrylic paint should work, craft paint, miniature paint, should all work.
Because I have sometimes on some of my larger terrain projects where because I use a lot of these acrylics, and I have a pretty good selection of acrylics, but there's certain colors that you either can't get in these acrylic colors or what's available isn't what I want. I'm thinking like a rust color is a primary one, or I actually mix up when I paint undead. I do a custom mix of browns and drab greens to create the base coat of like a rotten, just a rottenness. And I've tried keeping them in little containers, and it ends up drying up, and it's a pain to try to match that again. So
yeah,
I'll have to look into
it. Yep. Okay, I did post the winners on Facebook, so go to WASD20 on Facebook and give that post a like so more people can see it. But yeah, no, it's the wet palette has been good to me. It takes a little getting the hang of like how wet to get it and things like that, but for the most part, it's good.
Is it like a sponge inside there?
Yep, it's a very thin sponge under here. I'll show you. And then that it gets paint on it, but you can totally wash it. You can even throw it in the washing machine with clothes. And it also has this paper here, and it came with like 5 of these sheets, and these are actually washable. It says you can like I mean, it's interesting paper that you can actually just like rinse it off or wash it off. You can scrub it off and it'll still be usable. I think they wear out eventually, but multiple uses. That was surprising to me because I was like, oh, it only comes with 5 sheets. I'm gonna have to buy more of those, but oh well, I'll try it. And nope, it said in the instructions you don't have to dump it every time. You can keep reusing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see Wim.
Hi, Wim.
Wim just popped in the chat. Hey, Wim. I see Wim from time to time on my own games and other AbTab games.
Mm-hmm. Corrupt Reverend says, cheap craft paints don't do very well with wet palette, not enough pigment. Yeah, I can see that happening. I can see it breaking down a little bit. I have done it, and it works okay. But I guess it's the same thing with like maybe thinning it down too much. I don't know. Anyway, I've done it, and it works okay, but I can see how it wouldn't be as good.
I feel like a little frustration that I'm trying to stay in the lines and I'm going out of the lines.
Oh, bummer.
Just on a couple spots, I got some of this vest color down on the pants, but that's all right. I can touch that up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another coat on his boots here. My boots, I noticed, look actually like they look all right, but the problem is they have a nice kind of worn tone to them. The problem is some of the darker areas are on the outside because are not in the recesses so much because I didn't actually cover the black very well. So I'm gonna try to get more coverage here. I'm gonna do a lighter brown and then I'm just gonna go back with a brown wash.
And I think we mentioned at the top that, or maybe it was before we went live, that we're kind of shooting for finishing these up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't, it's just an excuse to keep doing this again another time.
Yep. Absolutely. And if we can't like find a time that works, like I'm fine with just saying like, we'll just finish it up on our own time too. I'd love to get together again. And I'd love to do more of these. In fact, I had a friend who was saying, you know what, you should reach out to Reaper for sponsorship. It's like, hey, why not? Maybe we should.
You know, I thought of that too, and when I posted on the Mini Terrain Domains Facebook page last week, I tagged Reaper Mini in the post.
Yeah, that's smart.
You never know.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about sponsorship a little bit, just with the company I like, and that makes sense. But yeah,
I don't want to just show for anybody.
Right, exactly. Yep, and I don't know that much about it, but I would definitely want to do it in a way that doesn't feel gross, because it's I kind of want to maintain my freedom and do things on the channel my way and the way the viewers like.
Yeah, I kind of on the flip side of the sponsorship, I wished I'd have done it this year, but I told Andre I'm going to do it next year. Is I want to do an MTD sponsorship for BrigadeCon.
Yeah.
Provide some custom minis or terrain.
Absolutely.
As a prize giveaway.
Yeah, man.
And that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love making terrain, but I love giving it away too.
Yeah.
Partly because I don't have a lot of space for a lot of this stuff. I make stuff that I think's cool, and then I'll do giveaways. I loved doing the giveaway I did with the giveaway that I did with Absolute Tabletop earlier in the year with Sewers Under Sandwall, where I made that custom sewer terrain and painted some shark minis from Reaper, Sharkmen. Yep. And gave those away. There's a small part of me that's like, man, I wish I'd have kept that and played something on it, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I hear you. Press says, do you guys have favorite brands of miniature paint? I would say most times nowadays I'm buying Vallejo, which they have at Riders Hobby, where me and Jake bought these miniatures actually, and they're cheaper than Citadel, and I like them because they're squirt bottles instead of the open up the lid pot bottles.
So, as I mentioned before, I use primarily these cheap Craft Apple Barrel and Craft Smart acrylic paints.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic for terrain. They're okay for what I'm doing with the minis. But as I paint more and more of these minis, I'm seeing the benefits of using paint designed specifically for miniatures. And I'm starting to come around on the whole idea of spending a little extra money and getting a good set of Vallejo paints and brushes.
Yeah. Some very good painters keep on using craft paint forever, and it totally works. And people never know. Like, they look at those miniatures and they're like, "Man, that's really good," and people would never know. But no, I heard you saying in terms of ease of use and stuff. I have seen benefit.
Well, I don't know how well you can see this one. This is actually the first Reaper mini that I painted. It's a Minotaur. And he is done entirely in craft paint. The other thing I've never done, or I haven't, I've never done, I haven't done yet, is sealing them or putting some kind of a, what do you call it? Like I can't think what they call it now. Like a clear coat.
Yep. Sorry, I was muted there because I was blowing it off. But yeah, I've got some dull coat lacquer and gloss varnish.
Okay.
This one's Vallejo, and I got that at Riders, and then this one I got on Amazon. And yep, I hear it's good to do a gloss first and then a dull coat, unless you want to keep it glossy, which I don't like to keep my miniatures glossy.
I think there's very rare cases where you want to use like glossiness, and I did that. I use a polyacrylic Minwax water-based polyacrylic finish for when I want a wet look, which is what I did with the Sharkmen for the Sewers Under Sand Wall.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want them to have that kind of just crawled out of the sewer look.
Yep. Yeah, very cool. All right, I'm kind of not great at multitasking here, so I'm going to be trying to stay on task here. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to finish this tonight. I'm making slow progress.
I'm going to go at it. You're still further ahead than me.
Yep. I mentioned before, I'm generally so slow and nitpicky. I can make a lot of progress at first, but yeah, slow and nitpicky for most of it.
So we had a family, an extended family Christmas last weekend.
Yep.
And I got for my son, I got him a cool set of dice from the local gaming store here in town. Yep. I call them Paladin dice because they're blue and silver with, or blue and gray with silver numbering.
Yeah.
Pretty cool looking dice. But I also got him a mini that I forget the name on it, but it's from Reaper Bones, and it's something Evil Warlord.
Ooh, nice.
And like full plate armor, massive shield.
Oh, nice.
He's got a bit of a flaccid sword because of the way they packaged it. His sword is literally rolled over 180 degrees.
Oh, weird.
So I'm gonna have to
do the boiling water
thing. I'm gonna do the boiling water thing. I think the heat gun's too intense to try to deal with something like that. But I asked him, I said, part of your present is I'm gonna paint that for you. And he wants it to be a like pearlescent white armor with gold trim.
Ooh, man.
And then the cape and the emblem on the shield and some other things are going to be done in a metallic red. So I'm really excited. On the surface, it seems like, oh, hey, this is going to be easy to paint because all I have to do is base coat it in white, prime it in white, cover the whole thing in pearlescent white, and then just do all the accents. But
yeah,
I think that's going to be the trick.
Yeah, that sounds challenging, but that's awesome. It sounds like it'd be really cool. He's not taking it easy on you, that's for sure.
No, no, and the some of the metallic paints don't work as well as others with these craft paints.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are like I'm going to be using the metallic gold for some accents on Barnabas Frost here, and my metallic gold is wonderful. It's actually a really dark gold.
Okay.
And my gunmetal is really good, but my silver and my Aztec gold are really watery. You have to have a really good base coat to get them to show properly.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed when switching over. Was like, oh, these metallics are way better in the Vallejo. But yeah, I know what you mean. My silver is just terrible. It looks like milk when it comes out, like thin skim milk.
Hey, I see LA in there.
Yeah.
I looked up and I literally saw, hey, Nate, hi, Jake, waves frantically. So
Yes. Hello.
I will
LA.
wave frantically at map. Ah!
I'll make Barnabas Frost wave frantically. Ah!
Something I haven't tried yet, but so Matt Smith is better known as the Czar of Happiness, and a lot of people don't know even who he is by name, but a lot of gamers that watch Acquisitions Incorporated have seen his stuff because he is the genius behind all the set pieces and the terrain, the custom terrain that the Acquisitions Incorporated team uses at their live PAX games.
Okay.
And I met him not in person but online about a year and a half ago. I approached him about doing a panel for Brigade Con, which he graciously accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And that is available on the Mini Terrain Domain channel. Content Creators Panel, I think it's called.
Okay.
But he so I was kind of exchanging Facebook messages and stuff with him after he started posting the most recent Penny Arcade build, the Cloud Giant Castle. And as he was posting the pictures, I was like throwing up tons of questions.
Mm-hmm.
But he used, for certain parts of that, he used a metallic paints that have actual metals in them, and they have an oxidizer that you can apply to. You're literally adding rust to the paint, causing the metallic paint to oxidize and creating a genuine rusted metal look.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh.
And I'm really intrigued by that. I'm going to go back and find out what specific paints he was talking about because I've had a request. I did a post recently in some of the groups. I know I posted on AbTab and some other places asking, hey, what do you want to see me do in 2017? What are some requests for tutorials and builds? And I had a few people request sci-fi terrain.
Okay.
Which I haven't done yet, but I kind of want to do. There's a gentleman in the DM Scotty's Crafts and Games forum whose name escapes me at the moment, but he's been building spaceships for tabletop gaming and display for, I think he said something like 20 years. And he makes all of his ships out of takeout containers, Listerine bottles, uses toothpaste caps for afterburners and thrusters. And
so cool.
You wouldn't, if you know that, if you're like, oh yeah, hey, he used this to make this, you can pick out the pieces. But if you didn't know that, you're just like, whoa, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it just looks like an awesome spaceship.
So now every time I look at a container, my wife had one of her gifts she got last week was this thing of like Linden truffles.
Yeah, man.
And she ate the last one tonight and she set the box aside and I picked it up and I was staring at it. And I don't even know what I was looking at, but she looked at me and she goes, are you going to make something out of that? I said, no. No, I think I'll just throw it away. Oh, I haven't shared this yet. I mean, it's not a big thing for anybody but me, really. But I work for a publishing company, and a woman that I work with, she has, she works like, what do they call them? Like conferences and stuff where they display our books and things like that.
Mhm.
And she unpacked literally hundreds of boxes of books. And in between all of the materials, they had these little thin cardboard. It's kind of like the same quality of cardboard as maybe a little thicker than a cereal box cardboard, or like what you would find on, I don't know, if you buy T-shirts at the store, there's that piece of cardboard that's in there.
Yeah.
So I have 2 boxes of these, each box containing anywhere from 300 to 500 sheets of this.
Oh, wow.
And this stuff is great for crafting things like shingles. I'm actually going to be trying some experimentation with layering techniques to do dwarven stone doors. And actually, I want to use a lot of it in sci-fi terrain. After watching, no spoilers here, but after watching Rogue One last week, and then I immediately the next day watched A New Hope, and it reminded me that I want to build I really want to build a scale version of the Sandcrawler, the Jawa Sandcrawler.
Okay.
Out of foam core and cardboard like that, and I can use the cardboard to do like all those little panel details and things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
cool.
I don't know if that'll happen in 2017. I've got a couple other big builds.
Yep. Very cool, man.
All right, and I'm not sure if this is going to be too dark. I'm looking at his jacket, and I'm looking at this navy blue. I'm thinking that might be too dark.
Well, you can always lighten it up, but you can always add a wash if it's too light,
The irony is the next step down that I have, and it's not very many steps down, is called dark blue.
That's funny.
But I have a, what is this called? Blue jean that has a nice kind of muted aqua, or not aqua, like muted. It's just very, very much reminiscent of the sea that I want to use for highlighting.
Mm-hmm.
But now, you know what? I think I just made up my mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to flip the script on what I was going to do. I was going to do dark blue with blue jean highlights, but I think what I'm going to do is blue jean is the main color with dark blue lowlights.
Oh, yeah. See, I've seen a couple channels I was watching recently were doing lowlights. I can't remember what they were called, but someone recommended a mini painting channel to me. And yeah, they did that way. And I was like, I've never seen that before. I guess there's a lot of people who do it that way, though. Yeah.
Well, when I first was doing some skeletons a couple years ago, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, how do people, I just was basically trying to reverse engineer. I'm like, how do people spend the time to get all those dark areas down in the low areas?
Yep.
And I was researching washes, and I saw a lot of stuff about ink washes and things like that. And I actually went to the Writers Hobby Shop.
Yeah.
And I asked one of the gentlemen that has been working there for like 3 decades, and he showed me, because they have display cases where they run semi-annual painting contests, and he was showcasing some of them for me and pointing out how they start with the dark levels at the bottom, and then they work their way up through. Some of them do up through dry brushing techniques.
Yeah.
And he was the one that kind of gave me an idea, because I was thinking, oh, well, for the skeleton, I'll just do black and then I'll work my way up. And he's like, well, think about it. If a skeleton is all rotten, it's not going to be black. It's going to be like, kind of greenish brown and just look like rot.
I love
and
that.
I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And so that was what I painted my first skeleton with.
Yeah.
And it was genius.
Yeah, man. Yep, that's cool. I like it. Hey, so how do you do eyes? I just did his eyes, black dots on this one. I have tried the legitimate eye method where you like that's the first thing you do on the miniature. It has turned out okay for me in the past, but it's a lot of back and forth. I don't get it very well. Where you start with white, and then you paint a black line. So you start with a white thing, and then you paint a black line down the middle of that white, basically, and then you paint the skin around it. But this one I just did black dots.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I was thinking I was probably going to do black dots. Or I might try doing like the dark blue or something. But yeah, I'm really skittish about eyes.
Yeah. When I tried that one, it was cool to see like I can actually kind of get the effect, but I don't know. You just can't tell that well when you're at this scale usually. Usually blacked out works just fine.
You can have a wonderful paint job on a mini and totally ruin the appearance of that mini if you have googly eyes or wonky eyes.
Yeah.
And there are some people out there, whether they're painting with micro brushes by hand or they're using airbrushes, it doesn't matter. There are people out there that are so extremely talented. It's actually what kept me away from painting miniatures for a long time. And then finally I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking to win contests or impress anybody other than the players at my table.
Right. I kind of came to a point where I was, and I still do struggle with it, spending too much time and just kind of realizing like I'm doing this so that I can like try to impress people on the mini painting subreddit or something like that. And it's like, at some point I just need to get some miniatures done and not spend 8 hours on one, which I can easily do. Sounds crazy, but I can do that.
Well, and that's the part where I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. I'm trying to find time to play games and do other stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm spending 5-6 hours painting one miniature person.
Yep.
That's why I have boxes and boxes of old Mage Knight and HeroClix minis behind me that when I need certain types of figures, I'll just grab one of them. A lot of them, the paint jobs are decent. I might touch it up a little bit with some highlights or dry brushing. And what sells those as being a higher quality mini without even touching the actual miniature itself in terms of paint job is just putting a basic base on it.
Yeah.
I put a little bit of sand and a couple little pebbles down, and then I put a little scattering of kind of a light, I forget what it's called, the particular mix, but it's a mix of a couple shades of green. Do that a little sporadically, and it looks fantastic.
That's awesome.
At least to me, and I'm the only one that matters, I guess, when it comes to that.
Yeah. I'm going to zoom in on mine here and give people a little look at what I'm doing. So I did do some eyebrows. I realized like maybe he's got eyebrows after I did the eyes, and it's still not showing up real in focus, but yeah, my webcam is so finicky when it comes to focus. All of a sudden it'll pop in and it's like, why weren't you doing that? Oh, there it is. See? Oh, but now it's back out.
Yeah, he was there for a second. Anyway,
yep. So I think I'm done with his pants. The blue looks okay. I'm just gonna keep on going here. I'm trying to speed things up beyond what I normally do. I think I'm finished with his beard and his hair. So yep, it's not perfect, but I think maybe I'll do a little more higher white at some point. And then yeah, I think I got to start doing his coat here a little more though, and bringing it up in the grays to get the highlights going. The boots, I'm having trouble getting coverage. Honestly, it's like not covering real well, but Yeah.
That's weird. I had that same problem getting the coverage on my boots.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just my light brown, I guess, that I'm using. But anyway.
This blue jean is probably I used it. I mentioned that I used it for painting the primary skin tone on the Sharkmen minis.
Yeah.
And I think what I did was kind of similar to what I'm planning to do here. Is I made a wash with the dark blue that I went over that with, and I just really love that combo. It looks fantastic. And then you use a what color is it here? It's Sailing Sky. It's a really light blue to get the highlights on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well you can see this here, how well the color shows. Let's see if I can get some light on this without blowing it out.
No, it looks good.
So that's kind of the blue. There's the front where I did the khaki. Whoops.
Yeah, move it up a little.
Khaki pants. Some khaki pants. He's got a little bit of a olive vest.
Yep.
I thought that would look nice underneath there, and I think I'm gonna do the red beard. I think that's gonna look good with this combo.
Oh yeah, a red bearded pirate. I love it.
So something else I've been thinking about with minis besides just D&D. Have you ever heard of or played Frostgrave?
No, I have not.
You haven't played it or haven't heard of it?
Neither.
So I have not yet played it. I do own the book. But Frostgrave is basically a tabletop skirmish game played in it's a fantasy setting, imagining a future in which the kingdom city of Frostgrave was frozen by magic a couple hundred years ago. And now wizards lead war bands to go in and try to fight monsters and claim treasure. And you play it, think kind of like X-Wing, the miniature game, where you have like a 3x3 play surface.
Yeah.
But what guys do is they do 3D terrain like what I do, but you do scatter terrain. So you make a few buildings and random ruins and stuff that can be rearranged. And then you have so much money to purchase your war band, which is usually represented. There's a company, I forget the name of the company, that makes like official Frostgrave miniatures. But people use minis from all over the place to represent. I've seen Lego war bands.
Nice.
And it's designed, you can run some scenarios in, once you get set up, you can run an entire scenario in an hour or two. And you can add role-playing elements, but it's primarily movements based on inches or centimeters. And you're looking for objective markers, which are usually treasure chests or scrolls, magic items. And it's got rules so that you can run it as like an ongoing campaign. And then the rule book also has information for specific scenarios. So like the mausoleum, and it's pretty much the same normal type scenario, except every round 1d6 skeletons, I think, or something like that, appear at the mausoleum and start moving outward to harass the players.
Oh wow.
And basically once you find a treasure marker, you have to move off the board as quickly as possible. And it's basically whoever gets all of the treasure markers, then you tally up points, you get gold, and you can buy new equipment.
Yeah.
But your war band is comprised of a wizard, a wizard's apprentice, and then you build the rest of them out. You might have a thief, you might have archers, you might have fighters, etc. And
that's cool.
that was, I've kind of been following it, and I actually had some requests. I'm actually working on a design for, this will be for future, but somebody said, I want to know, how can I make a 3x3 Frostgrave setup where everything packs into a single box?
Oh yeah, that'd be useful.
And I've got some designs I'm working on that I'm hoping to be able to show how to do that later in the year.
Yeah.
Like something that would be easily done. You'd have to make all your terrain, and then you actually would make the box, and then there you go, Frostgrave in a box.
Yeah, man. Very cool. That would be useful. Someone said, have you guys ever thought about, where'd it go? And I think, Jake, you probably have a little bit, but so I'll answer first because I'm sure you have more to say. If I can find it. It was something. Oh, have you guys, this is from Magical Girl 87. Have you guys ever thought of making your own minis out of air dry clay, the good clay? So I have bought Sculpey, and I have a big slab of regular, more traditional clay. But I have not made minis out of them. Definitely thought about it. I did make bases for miniatures out of clay at one point. I can find some of those here. Let's see if I can find them. Jake is definitely more of the crafter, and I know I remember you making some. It wasn't out of clay, Jake, but I remember those spiders. You made a video on how to make miniature spiders, and those look great. So these are clay bases. Sorry, I'll just quick finish up, and then you go. These are my clay bases. This was not Sculpey, but I think a Sculpey would be a lot easier than making these. This is more finicky. Sculpey's kind of got like a. Anyway, they work. I use them for like goblins or kobolds or little small things. Nice. But I usually use fender washers now. Now you go, Jake.
So I'm still relatively new to the to sculpting miniatures. I actually have an idea that I'm kind of nervous to even start it, but I want to do the Blackstone golems from the Stone Rift supplement that AbTab just released recently. But so I have, and this is in one of my videos, there's a kind of a tour of it, and there's there might be pictures on the Mini Terrain Domain Facebook page, but this beholder,
yeah,
and you can see how big it is in my hands, is completely scratch built. The actual, where'd they go? I've got one of them around here somewhere.
That one is so good, man. That beholder is awesome.
So I have I'm trying to find it, but it seems like they're constantly I'm tripping over these things, and now I can't find one. So the core of this is a plastic skull that I got at Halloween, but the tentacles and a lot of the buildup around the eyes and the mouth and all that is not only made with air dry clay, but it is made with homemade air dry clay.
Oh wow!
And I found a video, and I want to redo. I actually shot a video because I tried to recreate it again, and I screwed up, and my batch that I did turned out terrible. This first batch was perfect, and I did a few other things out of it. But what was cool is I was able to sculpt elements and let it dry. I sculpted all of these eye stalks, and I just let them dry. And then I glued them. So a lot of the texture that's on this beholder is actually done with hot glue.
Wow.
And then the teeth are toothpick ends. The eye was a marble. The eyes on the eye stalks themselves are also air dry clay. So yeah,
that's awesome.
To some degree. Oh, here's the skulls. They're right here. So this is one of the skulls that I used as the structure. I cut the central part out for that marble to go in, and then just built up around that. And that build was literally I wonder if I can do this. And I just started. A lot of my builds start that way. I've got bits and pieces of stuff laying around here that are. I wonder if I can do this. Nope, I cannot do this.
That's good that you try, and that some of them work out like that. That is awesome.
Well, and I can't show it right now because it's packed away in a box, but I still haven't shown this tutorial yet, but it will be shown on Mini Terrain Domain. Is I show you how to take these plastic boxes that dice come in, and you have to sacrifice the box, but you can create shards of broken ice for using in your bases.
Oh yeah, I can see that working.
I show how to break it apart, how to treat the edges so they're not sharp anymore, so you can handle it safely.
Yep.
How to paint it to get the desired effect.
Yep.
I used it on. There's a room and unless you see it, this won't make sense. But one of the puzzle rooms in the Tomb of the Mummy Lord is actually a room that is frozen. And part of the floor is broken away, and there's ice there. And once the players grab the thing they're after, the big shiny orb, the door slams shut, or tries to slam shut, and 3 giant tentacles with spikes on the end burst out of the ice. And the tentacles are completely handmade, and they have the bases are done with that ice technique.
Yeah.
So it looks like chunks of broken ice. And then I just used the gloss water-based poly covering to make it look wet. I was very pleased with how that turned out. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want to do a tutorial.
Yep.
On that.
Yeah, so you heard it, people. If you're not subscribed to Mini Terrain Domain, how are you even living right now? Go check out that stuff. That sounds awesome.
But yeah, so we've got quite a few people that have been watching this, and you've got, I'm a lot of your audience is getting exposure to me. That I would very much appreciate it if you like terrain and live play D&D games to head over to Mini Terrain Domain on YouTube and subscribe, but also either through the Mini Terrain Domain Facebook or even in the comments on the videos, or you can even, I'm on Twitter, and through email, miniterraindomain@gmail.com. If there's something that you want to learn how to make or that you've never seen somebody do, I'm not going to promise that I can do it, but I can tell you that I'm adding all these ideas to a running list. And there are some things that people ask for that I've already kind of figured out.
Yeah.
And I will gladly show tutorials. There are some things that I've never even thought about. So I love the idea of the challenge of trying to figure out, how in the world would I accomplish that?
Yeah.
And then, it's just the puzzle of, I like the puzzle of trying to figure something out like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Because part of the challenge is I show you not only how to build this stuff, but I show you how to do it with cheap or common materials.
Yes.
My pyramid, I have 100 hours into my pyramid. I've hand carved over 10,000 bricks into that thing. And I think the total cost to produce that in terms of just raw materials is maybe about $850.
Oh man, that's funny. That's so cool. Yeah.
And that's just because I bought a sword pendant to be the sword that's on top of the Mummy Lord's coffin.
Yep.
And there's a couple other little things like that, but everything else was, used with cheap dollar store foam core, cardboard. Cardboard is something that you can always find cardboard. You can go to a supermarket. You can go to places where they're constantly, department stores, whatever, and just ask them.
Yeah, most employers, if you work somewhere, find cardboard. It's there.
Yep. Yeah, I work for a publishing company, and in our warehouse, we have I found the box where they put all the waste cardboard. I haven't had to draw from it yet, but just knowing it's there.
Yep.
So
So I'm gonna search a picture of Barnabas Frost here, but I'll say one more thing. Yeah, so definitely go subscribe to Jake. Mini terrain domain. I should have put the link in the description. I don't think I did. Maybe I did, but anyway, do it. Now, what were you gonna say, Jake?
I was just gonna say, looking at the time and looking at where I'm at, there's no way I'm finishing this tonight.
No, yeah, I don't think I will. I might. It's possible. I'm getting close. So yeah, I'm getting there. It's
I'm just having to recover with this blue in particular. I have to go over certain areas more than once to get the coverage, and that's what's taking the time.
Totally. Like I've done his boots now 3 times, and they're still not covering completely.
So I'm gonna say I haven't looked at the chat in a while. Looks like they're talking amongst themselves,
which is good.
Oh, Poopra, I love how you did the beholder's teeth, Jake. Thanks. Some discussion about Hankrin's Oculus work. I got to get back to. I started watching a bunch of his videos, and he even popped in briefly at the beginning of. He was in the chat at the beginning of my Stone Rift chat and gave me his seal of approval on my dwarven beard. But I've chatted with him a couple times through Facebook Messenger. But I'm behind on watching his videos. I saw that he got an Oculus and was going to do some stuff with it.
Yeah, I watched it. It was cool.
Hankard's an awesome dude for just he just says, "Hey, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it."
Yes.
And he's very entertaining in his approach too.
Yeah, he is. He's hilarious. He cracks me up. I love him. I've talked to him a few times too, and we've talked about collaborating. Maybe it just hasn't happened, but I'm sure it will. I probably will end up getting him on an episode of the Mappening, which I know people have been asking for, and I'm not mapping much, people. I'm sorry. There might actually be an impromptu Mappening next week.
Okay.
So everyone, make sure you subscribe to WASD 20 events, and you'll get a notification on Facebook. Just go to WASD 20 on Facebook, and I'll be posting it on Twitter and stuff too. But if that happens, it might be kind of 2 days notice. Here we go. Because I've got a little bit of mapping work I got to do. But yeah.
Where do you know where Hankrin is?
What do you mean?
Geographically?
He's in Western Washington.
Washington State?
Yep, Western Washington State. So not
that's
far
what
from
I was
that.
thinking. Okay, I was thinking he said something about that, and
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Man.
I'm just looking at some pictures of Barnabas Frost right now on Google image search, because I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to okay, I need to find some of this detail and find what is this thing right here and stuff like that. I can't tell what this surface is. So that always helps.
What's interesting is as you look at those images, this is like an alternate version or maybe a second version of Barnabas Frost.
Because what do you mean by that?
Well, if you look, there's versions of Barnabas Frost that he's got his sword sheathed and he's holding something in his hand.
Yes, and he's got a hat in one.
Yeah, and I think, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the bones are usually variations or sometimes direct copies of the Metal Mini molds.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if they just maybe changed some of it up for when they went to the bones on these.
Right. I'm talking my mouth full. How rude. I got some gingerbread here my wife made.
I keep forgetting I've got this Kennebunkport Brewing Porter.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. It's really light. I love the porters because they're very creamy.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm not a fan of porters. I can drink it, and I can appreciate a good porter, but I like something that's not very smooth. I like something really with a crisp finish, or an IPA that's super hoppy.
Yeah. See, I'm relatively new within the last year or so to the IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not as keen on the overt hoppiness.
Yeah.
I think it's is it Founders that has the Hop Noxious?
I don't know. Never had
It's one of the Michigan, or it might be New Holland. One of the Michigan breweries has an IPA called Hop Noxious.
Love that. It's funny.
But see, I've actually discovered that I like IPAs better if I'm drinking something like a bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have a beer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then I find that the IPAs are a nice complement to the bourbon.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a bourbon guy.
Are you?
I love bourbon.
I'm not a bourbon guy. I mean, I would probably like it. I don't remember ever drinking bourbon. You know, I don't buy liquor much.
I started out with when I would drink it, it would usually be like a Makers and Coke or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried, I think it was Woodford Reserve. I had just a straight up bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I had it on the rocks. I like it really cold. I like the ice. And this area under his arm where his gun is obnoxious. Trying to get a brush in there. Anyway, so I tried it straight, and I was like, wow, this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I refuse to... I don't order bourbon and Coke anymore.
Yep, that makes sense.
I don't... It's not like I don't have like a decanter of bourbon on hand all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not that much of a drinker, but I do enjoy a good bourbon.
The bourbon is getting some love in the chat too, Map and some others.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Appreciate a bourbon.
You know,
well, maybe we can get together
that
next time. You'll have to.
I could definitely see that. Yeah. Especially if we hit up one of the local drinking establishments. New Holland makes a really good bourbon, craft bourbon. That's available at most places here in town. So what I'm going to propose is you and I kind of talked about this at the beginning, and maybe we can let some of the people in the audience decide. But I was going to say we're kind of at the point where we could do one of two things, which is at the end of the stream, we set the minis aside and we wait until we can find the time in the new year to get together again.
Yep.
And finish these up. Or when the stream ends, you and I on our own time, just go ahead and finish these minis up. And then in the new year, we plan that get together.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting up at a local watering hole, and we'll get some of that New Holland bourbon. And we'll do a little video then and kind of showcase the minis and talk about them after we finished them.
Yeah. I could go either way. I have a feeling the way I paint, I'm never going to finish this in a in a chat or in a live stream. Because I'm just so nitpicky, like, but I'm totally up for hanging out with you and painting, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of either way. I'm fine with just finishing these on our own, and
that's the way I'm leaning, just because, again, like, I feel like I'm not I'm just not good at like painting while I'm talking.
I think that's what it comes down to.
I feel like if I finish it on my own, I'll do better than if I'm like chatting and trying to manage a chat. And so
and I found that out as well when I tried. I've still got 2 more parts to do to finish up my Yanti Jungle Temple build that I'm doing strictly in live hangouts.
Yeah,
well, not strictly, because I did do a bunch of the brickwork off camera because nobody wants to watch me draw bricks for 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
But I normally do a lot of my crafting. That's how I caught up on Provokers. I didn't start listening to Provokers season 1 until you guys were, I think, maybe 5 or 6 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working on crafting out here, and I just started listening to it.
Yeah.
And it's great because, especially instead of when you watch live and you have to wait a month before the next episode, all I had to do was click the playlist and let it go. And
yeah, dude.
I found myself taking a break when you guys took a break.
That's awesome.
And then I would come back, and then I was able to start about halfway through. I was able to start listening live, and and that's a fun experience too. But it kind of it was funny too, because I would be out here crafting and listening, and I would want to comment.
Yes.
In the chat or respond to something, because
it's like, oh, I know.
Just that's the way it is. And it's like, oh wait, but this one was recorded like 3 months ago. So
oh man. That's interesting, Jake. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, and I'm actually behind on the current season. I'm a couple of episodes behind.
Yeah. It's all good. I
was kind of hoping you guys would run into old Feral Arkrot, the known wild sorcerer. I played in a one shot that Matt Click ran.
Yeah.
Sometime last year or earlier in the year, and our entire thing was that we were delving into an old cave or something in the Sonageist Desert.
Oh man, yeah, we haven't really been to the Sonageist Desert yet, but my character is from there. Right. I'm gonna have to watch that. What was that called? Was it recorded?
Oh, let me tell you, it's on Matt's channel. I'll find it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a fun one to play in, and the way not to spoil it, but Farrell's still alive and he's tinkering around in these old Kazran Empire ruins.
Yep.
All right, let's see.
So while I'm doing that, I'm going to show the miniature here. I went with the red trim. I went bold. Jake, you kind of suggested it last time. And yeah, we'll see. I'm getting a little. I'm messy. I wish I was better at the detail. So now I'm getting stuff on the black. I'm getting stuff on his beard. I'm like, but oh well.
Yeah, I keep doing that too, and you just got to go back.
Yep. But what were you saying?
I was saying this is why I can't get my miniature done, because I'm over researching other YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm. You know what? You just tell me.
I want to.
Sands of Sonageist, John Schwartz says. Is that right?
Oh, that sounds right.
I
Absolutely right.
Watched that one last night, he says.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm curious, John, what you thought, because that was the first time I ever played a gnome, and I always do character voices. And man, I struggled with that one for a long time, and I think I ultimately wound up going with something kind of along these lines.
Ooh, I love it. I love
it. And I may have had a little bit of an accent. It's been a while since I played it, but I was getting a little worried because somebody in our live chat was accusing me of stealing all the thunder and stealing the spotlight. But then Matt told me in the private chat that that's one of his professional trolls.
Yep. Gotcha. Yep. Matt's got some of those.
I didn't feel so bad, but that was a fun game. That was a fun game. I'm trying to remember who else was in that one. But yeah, Sands of Sonageist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. you might get a little. I'm sure Matt's giving you some background stuff on Sonageist.
He has, but I didn't know there was a game that was set in it. I don't know how I missed that. Yep.
Yeah, that was the one where I played a Tinker Gnome, and when there was something that I had to mess around with. I had to access some kind of a panel or something.
Yep.
And I have one of the tools I have here at the ready. I reached over and grabbed this little hammer here, and I had it on screen and was going. So I pull it out and I start tinkering around with it, and then it does this. It comes apart and there's a screwdriver in the handle. I'm like, all right, and I start messing with it. I think Matt may have given me a point of inspiration for that, but I don't remember.
Absolutely, I would have.
But in the Sewers Under Sandwall game that we only got through 2 parts of so far, Alex, aka Captain Gothdog, pulled out a freaking real life dagger when his character pulled out a dagger.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, if you've ever seen the Roll Up and Die live streams they do on YouTube, he's got skulls and daggers and
yes, he's got all the
stuff, all the things in his yurt in
northern Maine.
Yeah, northern Maine,
I think.
Yeah. And actually, plugging Gothnog a little bit more and Critical Hit Publishing.
Yeah.
He was a guest on my content creators panel at this year's Brigade Con.
That's right. I did catch part of that. Yeah, I do remember that because I remember Alex being there. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I was very pleased that he accepted my invite.
Yeah, cool guy. I like him.
Something I found interesting painting with this blue, and I'm going to interrupt myself because I just glanced up and saw that James from Tabletop Terrors just popped in.
What?
Must be his Monster Hunters and Dragon Grin game ended.
Yeah.
I caught just a hair of it. I'm going to go back and listen to that one. It sounded pretty badass. I tuned in just as something about somebody getting bit in half, and I need you all to roll for initiative. And I was like, what? James says, "Oh man, this is the coolest stream. You guys just painting and talking." So thank you, James.
It's pretty fun.
No, what I was saying, and again, I don't know how well you can see this detail. Well, Nate, you know, because you've been painting his jacket, so you know the kind of detail that's in there. Working with this craft paint is the best way I can describe it is it's I don't know if viscous is the right word I want to use. But it's definitely very thick, and watering it down doesn't always work great with these, thinning them out.
Yes.
So I'm always concerned that I'm losing detail, but I'm finding that as it dries, it kind of, I think what happens is because just the nature of the acrylic paints, I think there's a lot of water in them.
Yep.
The
density is just not great.
Yeah, but you also, I think what I'm experiencing initially is I think there's some surface tension in some of these low areas where, you know, it's a small pocket that when the paint first goes in, the surface tension causes it to kind of look like it's stealing detail.
Okay, yeah.
But now that it's kind of drying out, I can see all that detail again.
Well, good. Very good.
So I'm definitely applying one of your techniques, same thing I talked about last time, where kind of starting all the way in at the lowest area, working from inside to outside.
Yeah.
Because that gives me the freedom as I'm painting this blue on this jacket to know, all right, well, this stuff's going to get covered up.
Yes. Yep.
You do got to be careful, though, with with your colors when you're doing that. If you're going to be using a lighter color to try to cover something up, you know, if your outside color is, you know, a really light version of the color you used, or say a white or a light gray, it can be difficult. It's going to require more paint, more coats to overcome the bleed through.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Which is why, particularly with the skin tones, why I chose to, well, I understand now why a lot of people prime in that kind of light gray, that primer gray color. But I chose to prime in white because that's what I have.
I hear you. I'm going to do this pauldron on his right shoulder here. I know we got to be wrapping up in a little bit here, but I'm going to go with a gold, actually, kind of a, see what I got.
Yeah, I'm kind of toying with what to do with that.
I think I'm going to go with a little bit of my Vallejo model color gold mixed with brown for the base. Oh gosh, look at this. This is not good. I just pulled this the cap off, and it pulled the squirt top right off.
Oh no.
That's never happened before. I don't know what to do about that. Oh, and now, okay, I got it back on. Okay.
Let's see. So Garrett Frey.
What about brushes?
Hey guys, how much would it cost for a new set of really cheap paints? I'm on a pretty small budget and I'm trying to paint my new set, but never painted before. I'll let Nate talk a little bit maybe about Vallejo pricing, but these craft paints that I use from the Craft Smart brand of acrylic craft paints from I usually get these at Michael's. If you watch their sales, I bought a bunch of these this summer. They had a sale where bottles that were normally around $1 a bottle, I got for 33 cents a bottle. So
wow.
I went in there and I think for less than $20, I walked out of there with like 45 paints.
That's incredible, man.
Because normally I wouldn't buy 8 shades of blue and 9 shades of red, but at that price, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, this stuff is definitely, especially if you're just getting started, is great for learning. But what about and brushes? The set that I'm using right now, unfortunately, they're not great. They are value brushes, so they're not going to last a really long time. But I got this full set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 brushes, 7 or 8 brushes, ranging from a couple of flatheads, a couple of fine detail brushes for $3.99 at Hobby Lobby. And if you go in there and that's the only thing you buy, use their 40% off coupon, and you can get those $3.99 brushes for about $2. Oh no, that's not half of 4, or that's not 40% of 4. About $2.50. I don't know, 40% less than $4.
Right.
I don't math.
Yeah, so that's.
But what about Vallejo paints?
So Vallejo paints are generally going to be $3 a bottle. I'm actually going to post a link to a video I did on selecting paint and brushes, where I talk about all this stuff. Yeah. If I can find the chat here, but that's at Michael's, is what he said. Garrett, Joanne Fabrics, if you're in the U.S., Michael's, Hobby Lobby. These are all places, at least in the U.S., where you could find craft paint.
Yeah,
pretty much any craft store.
I don't know where you're located, Garrett, in terms of internationally, but Michael's and Hobby Lobby in particular, and I think even to a certain extent, Joanne Fabric, they all carry a lot of these same kind of paints, and they all have coupons that you can go on your smartphone or you can go on their website, and they offer like 40 or 50% off any one item. And I use it whenever, like, I have there's a box of like $25 or $30 resin mix that I like to get from Hobby Lobby, that I'll wait until they have their 40 or 50%. Well, they do the 40% coupon every week. And I'll just go in there, and instead of paying $30, I get it for like 16 or $25. I get it for 16.
Yep.
It's a great way to do it.
Yeah, never go without a coupon. I mean, sometimes if I'm out and I'm like, oh, this is $5 and I don't have a coupon, that's no big deal. But yeah, those places always have coupons. It's a racket. That's their business model. But
yeah, pretty much.
But it's like, hey, take advantage of it. If that's what they're gonna do, take advantage of it. Because if you're not,
because they know most people are gonna use that coupon for that one item, but they're also buying 7 or 8 other items usually.
Right. That's true. Yep.
And those, trust me, those 7 or 8 items are probably marked up.
Yeah, exactly. They mark it. That's what I'm saying. But
yeah, absolutely.
Oh well.
It's a successful business.
I've done some shopping on Amazon where I'm at one of those stores, and I'm like, well, it's only like $1 cheaper on Amazon, so I'll just get it. Or sometimes it's more on Amazon. So yeah, it's not all a ripoff. But so Vallejo paints, I did get these at Hobby Lobby for $1.79. They were on sale. So this one regularly $2.99.
They sell Vallejo.
They do at Hobby Lobby.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot they have a model building section too.
Yeah, they do. So that was a good deal. I got some, but when we're at Ryder's Hobby Shop, I just I'll buy a bottle, and that's how I do it. You can get them way cheaper if you get the whole sets on Amazon. And I think I put a link to some of those in that video in the description. But for the most part, I just am kind of I trickle. I just kind of I'll buy another one. I'll buy another one, and then next time I'll buy another one again, and just here and there, once every couple months, buy another bottle. But if you're looking to get a whole bunch at once, definitely some craft paints would be good. And if you want to get one of those Vallejo sets, if you really want some decent stuff, and you can get a whole set for $40 of a lot of paints, maybe $30. I can't remember. So, yep. Alex says shameless self-advertising. Absolutely. Yep. No links in the description. This is of the other video on selecting brushes is the one. So check that out. Not on this video.
Not entirely sure if this is enough distinction. I'm going to show something here in a second. I'm just starting the trim on his coat, and I want your opinion.
Yeah. I will give it. I just did his gold pauldron here, and I like it. I'm going to add a brown wash once it dries to kind of give it a little, not so shiny look. But what were you saying, Jake? I want to give my input.
Yeah, I just want to finish this little section here. I don't know, I just got paint all over everything. Yeah, so that should be enough to at least show, or maybe not show. I don't know. We'll see. So, looking particularly, I don't know. Can you see that where his jacket?
Yeah.
There's the trim and then the main jacket.
I can. The trim looks white to me. Is that right?
No, it's actually a really light blue.
Oh, okay.
It's probably just getting blown up.
Yep, on the bottom left. Yeah, I see it.
And then I'm thinking of doing either gunmetal or gold for the little buttons on there.
Mm-hmm.
I keep screwing up which angle I'm going at. Yeah, now that it's drying, I think I'm liking it. I wasn't sure that the difference was enough, but I think by the time I add in I decided to go. Actually, I haven't decided. I might actually do black for his straps because I haven't done any black on him yet. His bandolier and belt.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I might do black for those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pleased with how this is going.
Yeah, I like it. It looks good.
All right, cool.
So maybe Jake will go another few minutes here. It's 10:35. I mean, I could go another 20 minutes if you want to, but you probably.
That's up to you, man. I'm open.
I don't.
I do not have to work tomorrow. I'm off until Wednesday, the 27th, 8th.
Well, let's go another 15 minutes or so. Is that cool? 15? Or do you want to get going?
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have school tomorrow.
Alex says it looks good.
Alec is one of my students, Jake.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's awesome that you have. I think it's awesome that you get some of your you have students that are following you, and I know you talked about that before.
Yeah, it's fun. We can talk at school about nerdy things, and I like that.
Man, I wish I had teachers like you when I was in school.
Oh man, Alex,
this kind of when I was in school, this stuff was not something you talked about with anybody at school.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's kind of how it was for me too. But so we have this tech guy who I was talking to him for like hours today. I like him a lot. His name's Ryan, and Alec is an intern, and he works for him, for a class, and so we talk. It's fun. We talk a lot, and but yeah, man, today I was just like, man, I like my job. I get to talk to this guy for hours about video games and other stuff while I'm grading tests, and so yeah, it's cool. So there's a couple. We got a little nerd alliance. What's your guys'
I get
favorite?
that.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I get that at work. Working in a publishing company, we actually refer to the company I work for is called Erdman's, and we have a trivia team that's named the Erd Nerds.
Nice.
And that's just how we refer to ourselves, because
Yep.
we have all varieties of nerdery, including I found a couple of D&D players.
Nice. That's awesome.
So anyway, you were started to ask a question.
Oh, did I? Yeah, maybe.
You
I
said,
don't
"What's your
remember.
guys' favorite?" And then
Oh, someone asked. It was Garrett. What's your guys' favorite campaigns you've ever played? Yeah, I think that Provokers was my favorite campaign. It's because honestly, it's one of the only campaigns I played in. I did play in Juice's campaign too for his home group, and that was a lot of fun. I miss those guys, but yeah, I am not a seasoned veteran of role playing games. I have not played in many campaigns.
Yeah, I'm only just now playing in a couple of campaigns. My home group, I mean, technically, I guess that, we're running campaigns on that. So, it's hard to say because I've got one home group where I'm playing, we're playing all goblins and we're playing Out of the Abyss as goblins.
Oh, dude.
And it's so much fun because we're not inherently or blatantly playing evil characters per se, but you can get away with a whole hell of a lot more when you're playing a goblin.
Yes.
And the debauchery that we get up to is entirely sanctioned. We have a half crazy monk named Uncle Sanchez that in early on, we kind of came up with this thing that he can periodically hear. He breaks the fourth wall and he can hear what the DM says.
Yeah.
And he uses it very sparingly, but
that is so cool.
For instance, when the rogue went into a room by himself and took 20 gold coins and then told us he didn't find anything, and Uncle Sanchez said, "What about those 20 gold coins?"
Yeah.
And obviously it's metagaming, but it's done in a way that we made it part of the game.
Yes. So it's not anymore. It's roundabout now.
Yeah. And then I'm playing in, speaking of, well, I guess I wasn't speaking of, but I'm now going to be speaking of,
yes.
Absolute Tabletop and Dragon Grin, Tabletop Terrors setting. James was here earlier and ran a game in Dragon Grin. I play in Drake Warren's campaign called the Dragon Grin Chronicles, which you can watch on. We've had, I want to say 4 episodes now.
And that's on RPG Construct, right?
Yep. It's the RPG Construct. And we're all playing. We're actually kind of playtesting races that were created by Tabletop Terrors for Dragon Grin, so they're unique. And I play an Oldane dwarf named Božidar Bogdanovich. And I really enjoy playing Boz because, for one, I'm playing a Tempest cleric.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's reskinned as a cleric of the bleak. So he doesn't serve a god. He's actually, his power comes from the bleak itself, which is a magical energy force that surrounds all of these realms of Arbitron, I think is the name of the planet.
Yes.
Because you guys, I don't know if you've directly encountered it yet, but there's bleak influence in Aeronoth as well with the Provokers.
Yes, and we have in Provokers Season 2 quite a bit, actually. It's, Provokers...
Well, actually, yeah, that's...
right?
I was going to say, yeah, that's the whole name of the campaign, so...
Yeah.
And bleak is an amazing concept.
It is.
And each setting, Aeronoth, Ankea, and Dragon Grin utilize the bleak in different ways. And it's really fun to explore, because we started off level 1, and I think we're only level 2, maybe level 3 characters now. And it's really fun to explore the character. And Drake shifts the spotlight around each episode.
Nice.
so that we get a chance to build on our characters. And it's very much an open world, very much a sandbox campaign to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just fun. We do it as, we're just playing a game, and we happen to be live broadcasting it, and we do engage with the chat when people are there to watch it. But for the most part, we're just having fun playing in this world that Tim and James have created and exploring it.
Yep.
So I'd have to say, because I also play in Mike the Piper's Numenera campaign with James, Jarl, DM, Lloyd, and Drake, actually.
Okay.
And that's over on Mike the Piper's channel. And that's a sci-fi kind of setting with Monty Cook's games, Numenera, and the Cypher system. So, yeah, I like all of them. I think I prefaced all that by saying I don't really play in any campaigns. And I just listed like 3 campaigns that I'm in.
Yeah.
And in the new year, I'm going to be playing in kind of a mini campaign called the Eagle Feeders that Jarl DM Lloyd is running, where we're all playing Vikings in his Iscloth setting.
Oh, man.
I'm really excited about that because I've been watching the Vikings television series on Hulu, and I've never seen anybody in the community that knows Vikings as much as Lloyd does.
Oh, no, totally. I think he used to give tours in Ireland, in fact.
Yeah.
And
because he's based in Ireland.
In like some of the Viking sites or something. I don't know, something like that. So,
well, I think one of the guys that's playing in our game is that's going to be playing in that campaign is I think Nicholas Dawson, and who Lloyd has mentioned that him and Nick are like hetero life mates. And Nick Dawson pretty much knows. He said he's the only one he defers to in terms of somebody who knows the most about Viking lore.
Yep. I want to thank Prupra real quick because she said she's going. So thanks, Prupra.
Oh, yeah, Prupra, man, you have got to get some sleep. It's going to be like 5 o'clock in the morning for you. Thanks again for showing up. I love having you in the live stream, so I hope you continue to show up. And I promise you, in the new year, I will be doing some weekend afternoon live streams so you can join us at a reasonable Denmark hour.
Awesome. Yeah. So, Vikings. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mentioned this last stream on my channel that Prupra has been kind of one of my viewers for over a year now, I think.
Well, nice. I'm happy to have her on WASD 20. So, yeah. Cool.
But, yeah, Vikings. I am going to be playing, and I can't remember the character's name right now, but I'm playing a barbarian, a berserker, which I've never played before, but it's going to be interesting because of the way things work. It's D&D 5e, but it's flavored very much for the Viking setting, and the berserker ability is something that's granted from Odin.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, in a way, a barbarian berserker actually kind of comes across almost like a paladin or a cleric in that sense. That they're divinely blessed. And I've been working on the characterization and how I'm going to play him. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to explore that. He's the son of a fisherman. And I think it's just gonna be a lot of fun. Locrius is playing in that game.
Oh, man.
So it's gonna be me, Locrius, Nick, and Mike the Piper.
Oh, man, that's an awesome crew. Yep.
I was honored when Lloyd invited me to that game.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fun crew to play with too.
Oh, for sure.
And I think I think he's calling it a mini campaign. I think we're looking at maybe like 10 episodes at most, he was saying.
Yep.
John Schwartz says, loving the Affairs of Dragons one-shot series you host, Jake. Ironically enough, you don't see a whole lot to do with dragons in Dungeons and Dragons, but to actually play a dragon. So, yeah, that's true. it's a discussion that comes up quite a bit, is for whatever reason, I think dragons have kind of been relegated to ancient history and have become very rare. For whatever reason, I think dragons have almost become trope in Dungeons and Dragons, and people are almost afraid to use them.
Yeah.
And I was inspired actually by Lloyd's game last year at Brigade Con, where he did a Jotun game, so it was all giants. I know Matt Click played in that one.
Yeah.
They were all giants, and we were talking mega damage dealing, stuff like that. And I just thought, man, I really want to run something monstrous. And I got the idea. I started thinking about it. I was like, could I run a game where the players are actually dragons? They're not true characters in the sense that they don't have a character sheet. I literally just gave them the 5e dragon stats for adult dragons.
Yeah.
And said, come up with your characterization. And I told them you can be a chromatic or a metallic. And so we had 3 chromatics, and we had 1 metallic.
Mm-hmm.
And I set up a scenario, and there's some amazing role play from Chad and Dave, Jeremy Lilly, and Marpause, Matthew Robichaud.
Awesome.
I think that's everybody. I really hate if I leave somebody out. But they actually fought Tiamat.
Oh, dude.
And I'm not gonna spoil it, and then it was funny is Chad played a character based on Locrius. It was voiced like Locrius, and it was called Locrius the Voiceless. And Locrius saw the game and loved it, and Chad convinced me to run a game for where him and Locrius play. They play young blue dragon siblings. Locrius the Nefarious and Chatterax the Mimic. And it's a prequel.
Yeah, I caught part of that. It was super cool.
That one was so much fun. And that one, actually, I kept it a secret right up until it happened. They had heard rumors that there were these dragon hunters, these monster hunters, these gnomish monster hunters known as the Belgrade brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And when they finally got to the location that they were supposed to go to, Cedric's Hollow, and they were peering in to see what they could see, all of a sudden, down in the chat, they see, or in the hangout, they see Tim and James Carney pop in. I had been working for about 3 weeks with Tim and James Carney to do a cameo guest appearance and basically do what turned out to be 2 gnome monster hunters versus 2 dragons.
That's awesome.
It was spectacular.
I didn't catch that part. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And it was funny is in his Daily Damage live stream that day, I think Chad or maybe even I mentioned, hey, don't forget to tune in for the Affairs of Dragons, What Lever Lies Betwixt game tonight. And Tim was like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to watch that one. I'm not going to be able to watch it live, but I'll definitely catch it later. Slide. He was not tipping his hand at all. Tim's clever that way.
Yep. Slide.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Saying that, actually.
And you know what? As a DM, it is so easy to DM that kind of a thing because all you do is sit back and let them. You're not running monsters. You're just basically refereeing conditions.
Yeah.
And I was adjudicating some certain things.
Yeah.
There's actually a really unique way, and I'm not going to spoil it, but during the fight with the gnomes, there was a critical fail on something.
Okay.
During a spell attack, and I chose a very unique way using the elements to deal with that. And that's something that Drake and I are going to talk about on a future podcast on the Something RPGist podcast is handling critical fails, because
Yeah.
there really isn't in 5e a critical fumble per se.
No, there are some good charts out there. You know, if you Google it, you can also buy cards. I think Pathfinder has some cards, and there might be some others where you can buy like the little cards, and those are cool. But yeah,
I've noticed in provokers even. I think Matt chooses to just kind of just doesn't even address a critical fail usually.
No, I don't think he does. Yep. And I
and
usually
everybody
don't
has
either.
their own style.
Yeah, I usually will make something up. You know, often it's like you drop your sword or you hit an ally instead or something like that, you know. Or you fall to your knees or but I don't have any official thing usually.
I actually had in the Stone Rift game, Chris from Drop Dice. He critically failed on an attack roll, and he just went ahead and narrated. He went with it, and it made sense because of what he was doing. He narrated that he was too aggressive when he reloaded his crossbow, and he pulled it too tight, and it caused the drawstring to break when he tried to fire it.
Oh no!
Fortunately, mechanically, he said he kept in his beard. His beard tie was actually an extra bowstring, and I loved it. But I usually, what I do is the majority of the time, you're depending on your attack, you're going to overswing, and you're going to expose yourself to the enemy, and the enemy is going to get a single opportunity attack against you.
Okay. Yep. I like that. I like also doing advantage on the next attack against you.
Yep. That's a great way to do it too.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I appreciate it. You know, when players will be creative and make something up that, you know, here, let me harm myself a little bit.
Tim Carney's really good about that.
Oh, he is. He's the master.
Tim does that there's examples of him doing that in Provokers and in the Winds of Sir Celine, where he will deliberately fail a saving throw or something because it makes narrative sense to what was happening.
Yep.
And that's great, you know, to be able to recognize those scenes. And he doesn't do it all the time. He's pretty it's not like every time. So, okay, if it's okay with you, I'm going to fail this save. But there are times where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think Barker's actually done that a couple times too.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I can appreciate it.
The sword.
I haven't even started the sword yet. I mean, I did a coat of very dark gray on it last time.
I'm doing gunmetal, and I wish I would have put a little bit of a black base under it.
Yep. Yeah, I've got a pretty good dark gray going. It's 10:55, and I just can't stop. Let's go to 11. Let's do it.
Yep, that's cool.
Trollocs, thanks for joining us. Peace to you.
Say, Trollocs.
Let's see. I'm going to catch up on the chat a little bit here. Caden G, welcome. How's it going? All right, Salvatore, like playing D&D, which is really cool. Yeah, all right. I'm an R.A. Salvatore fan. Good old Bob Salvatore.
Yep, I've listened to several. I had to take a break because I listened to like 9 books in a row in the Driss series. But I just love those Driss books.
Oh my gosh, I do too. I know that people, there are some haters out there, but you know, and they're not like, they're pulpy and fun, and if you like D&D, they're just and there's good drama, good character development, and just the world. I mean, the Underdark. Oh yeah, the culture of the Drow. Oh man.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
It is so good, and he like made all that stuff up. Like before that, like TSR was just kind of like, oh, we don't really know like much about the Drow. They're like they're bad. Like they're from like underground, so you know, go nuts. He just did.
I had a player that just moved away that he was basically, and it was funny is when he started playing this character, he had actually never read The Legends of Drizzt, but he built a Drow Ranger that was raised on the surface.
Okay.
And then he started reading the novels and realized, he's like, oh man, I didn't even know I'd made a Drizzt clone. Like, hey, it's really cool. I am all for, I don't even care if somebody wants to come to the table and make Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And that's what they call him. If that's what you want to play, we're playing make-believe, dude.
Yeah.
Pretend to be what you want. My first ever, there's some with Rogue One coming out, and there's a couple articles, and I saw Matt posted something in the AbTab group about the classic West End Games Star Wars RPG.
Yes.
From which he took his channel name from the fact that you have to roll a fistful of dice in Star Wars RPG. It's a D6 system. I was introduced to that in the early 90s. It was 90, would have been 95. I went down to Fort Polk, Louisiana to be a part of a push team for Joint Readiness Training Center when I was in the infantry in the Army.
Okay.
And so we had some downtime, and we were staying in these big, almost like circus tent kind of things. And I was reading the Star Wars novel, The Courtship of Princess Leia at the time, which is one of the worst Star Wars novels. Princess Leia is a straight up B word because of the way they wrote her. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
But it caused one of the guys from one of the infantry line companies to kind of come up to me. He's like, oh, hey, I read that one. Have you read this? And, of course, then we start nerding out about Star Wars. And so we were down there for 2 weeks, and he goes, so do you ever play role-playing games? And at that point, I had played D&D like once of a couple years before.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, a little bit. He said, well, I have this Star Wars role-playing game. I brought some stuff with me if you want to. We're going to play.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. And my first character was named Devorn Flair. He was a human smuggler that I bought a YT-1300 stock light freighter with smuggling compartments, a drop-down laser cannon on the underbelly. I was basically Han Solo.
Yeah.
That was my first character. And it was awesome because I knew Han Solo.
Exactly.
So I knew how to play the character. So if you want to come to my table and you want to play, you can even name your character Drizzt.
Sure.
I don't care.
Yeah.
That's what the fun of it is.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. Unfortunately there's a lot of Drizzt gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of love too, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, even my sister read those novels too, my younger sister, and that was kind of one of the things that got her into fantasy. Actually, she likes them. So yeah, those were good times.
I think Bob Salvatore, he just really writes good fantasy fiction.
Yeah,
he writes fight scenes really well.
He does,
and you can tell he's a player because you get the sense that you can almost imagine a DM narrating some of this stuff.
Yes.
You can he describes certain things in D&D terms, so you understand that this is a magical ability. The Drow darkness ability and the fairy fire.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, totally. I made a mistake here, Jake, and that is I guess I don't have to paint it, but as I'm looking at pictures, there's like a sash under his belt, kind of, like a wider piece of cloth.
I mentioned that to you last week.
I know. And I kind of ignored it until now, and it's so hard to paint now. But I'm trying to do a white, which is also stupid, because I'm going to get white all over everything. but you know what? I'm just going to be dumb here. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to, whatever color, I'm going to do that whole belt area in whatever color I do the sash, and then go over that with the black for the actual belt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember I specifically mentioned that sash to you.
You did.
And you specifically chose to ignore me.
Mm-hmm. I'm a dummy. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how mine's coming out here. I got some highlights on the red. That's, it's got a little less rich tone because of that, but it looks more dynamic, and I'm digging it. And yeah, he's coming along. I still got the sword to do. I'm still not. Yeah, like here's the white I was trying to do, and it's just, ugh, what did I do?
Yeah, this gold metallic I have is not going on the sword very well because I didn't put any black under it.
Oh, okay, yep.
So I'm gonna, while we're kind of chatting here, I'm gonna start cleaning up a little bit.
Yep.
I was looking at the chat. Ben Buckner says the Cleric Quintet is probably his best work.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And that's actually, I think, the first series that he did that he moved away from the Driss novels. He wanted to do something different.
Yep.
And I've actually started that, and that was around the time where I realized, hey, I've been listening to this for too much. But I have, because of my commute, I spend 90 minutes a day on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting tired of, even on Spotify, listening to the same songs all the time. So I'm definitely going to be listening to some Cleric Quintet.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Magical Girl 87. I have a character named Maywithin Elianan. Probably butchered that. May for short. She's a rogue cleric. She hails from Ched Nasad. Born in 1298 DR, Dale Reckoning, for those not in the know.
Mm-hmm.
She has silver hair and palatinate shade purple eyes. Here's the twist. She's Driss's cousin on the maternal side. That is really cool.
That is. Yep.
That is very cool.
Very, very.
Yeah, the drow rogue that was in my party, I actually made him. He found out that he was related to House Obladrin, which was the house that turned out to have the psionic abilities. And it was actually in some of the early novels, it was the Bainry family really did not want Obladrin. They didn't like the fact that they had abilities when the during the what was it called when all the magic left.
Oh, I don't remember.
I forget what that was called, and not this. I don't think it's the Sundering. It was something else. Anyway, so I had him be related to that family, and he had to. He wasn't able to play before he moved. He wasn't able to play for a long time, and so through a magic portal that the party came to, kind of at the end of that session, 2 figures showed up. Yes, the spell plague. Thank you, Corrupt Reverend. The 2 figures that showed up were Jarlaxle and Artemis Untrari.
Oh.
And Jarlaxle is the head, kind of heads up Brigandertha, the mercenary organization. And that's what his character wound up doing, was going back down. His matron of his house had summoned him, and he was going to be working actually as a second lieutenant in Brigandertha. It also happened to be where the monk in my party decided she was going to try and steal Artemis Untrari's infamous vampiric dagger.
Oh, man.
And she rolled a natural 20, and I hadn't accounted for that, so I had to kind of use some old 3rd edition stats for Artemis.
Yep.
And even using his ridiculously high sense motive, she still beat him.
Wow.
And so I gave it to her. I awarded her with that.
Absolutely.
So she had a Artemis Untrari's vampiric dagger, and then every once in a while she would encounter somebody that knew Artemis or whatever, and be like, "Oh, and by the way, Artemis is pissed. He knows you're the one that took his dagger." But there was a whole issue with some time travel, and the time between when they took it and when they is like 100 years, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a really fun way to do it, and it was all drawing on stuff that I learned from reading those books.
Yeah, they're very inspirational for sure. Yep. Well, Jake, I think I'm gonna put my paintbrush down. I could keep going for another hour, but I should probably not.
Yeah, that's kind of where I landed. I think I'll definitely over the winter break here and stuff. I'll do some more work on him, finish him up, clean him up how I want, and then I will post some pictures on the Mini Terrain Domain page.
Yeah.
And share those over to probably AbTab. But you can you can find pictures of these minis that we took over on, at least on mine, you'll find over at Mini Terrain Domain on Facebook, facebook.com/Mini Terrain Domain. And the rest, I'm sure Nate will post.
I will on WASD20. Yep. On Facebook.
That's looking awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
I can't wait to see the photos because you keep slipping in and out of focus. But when he's in focus, I'm like, holy crap, man.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
That looks really good.
It's coming along. It's almost done. I think I could pretty easily finish him in another hour, I think. But
I think it's really cool to see, the direction that I went with mine when we eventually show our finished mini side by side, to see what our whole intention was, which is to show how two different people with two completely different styles can take the same mini and present it in very different ways.
Yeah, totally.
So
man.
That's very cool. Because you and I definitely chose. I think you went with a much darker palette. Excuse me, a much darker palette overall. And I kind of went the opposite end, and we didn't even plan it that way.
No,
that I kind of went with, in a way, I would say almost, but not quite. Some of the color choices we made are complementary colors. So some of my, like the trim in particular, is probably sitting on the opposite end of the color spectrum. So it'll be really cool to see them side by side, and I actually plan on statting out Barnabas Frost. I'm going to be using him as a captain on one of my ships that I've built.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, well, share that with me too, because maybe I'll use your stats if I ever use them in game. Yeah, man.
Cool.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to. Okay, I thought I was like only showing my screen for a minute there, but apparently I wasn't. So that's good, because I want to make sure that people can see both of us. But I'm going to put my webcam back up here, and I'm going to thank the kind friendlies in the chat for joining us. And it's going to be all completely washed out because my light is right in front of us. There we go. Oh, that bright light. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you go subscribe to Mini Terrain Domain on YouTube. Make sure you go to Facebook and check out our miniatures on Mini Terrain Domain and on WASD20 on Facebook. But yeah, Jake, any parting words from you?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody in the chat. It's been awesome having so many people hang out with us. People that were here earlier and left, people that have come in recently, some that have been here the whole time. I love doing these kind of things where we have people in the chat and we can engage. I wanted to real quick, once again, I've been drinking a couple of beers out of my Chalice of Cassandra, handmade by Cassie from the AbTab family. Check out Porch Pottery on Facebook and Porch Pottery on the Etsy store. But go to Porch Pottery on Facebook, and then you can get to her store from there, where you can purchase handmade ceramic items. I told her I'm going to promote her every time I drink out of this thing. And then keep your eyes peeled. Head over to Facebook to Something RPG-ish. That's Something RPG-ish. Myself and Drake Warren. It's our brand new podcast that either the first or second week of January, we will be launching our first episode. And sometime in the not too distant future, hopefully, our very own Nate, WASD20, will be a guest on there. We don't know what we're going to talk about yet for that one, but it's going to be something. So
yeah, cool.
And thanks, Nate, for doing this. Nate and I talked for quite a long time throughout the year about getting together because we live in such close proximity. I'm glad we were able to finally make that happen and do this over the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping, we're going to have at least one more time we'll get together regarding these two minis. But hopefully it won't be the last time that we get together and do some collaborative stuff between our two channels.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, stay tuned. We will definitely be hanging out, and miniature painting I'm sure will be in the future, but other things hopefully too. And thank you guys so much for joining in the chat. It's always makes it a lot more fun when there's 20 of us instead of just two of us. Not that you're a bad guy, Jake, or anything, but Jake, I want you to. My name is Nate. You've been watching WASD 20. Jake, can you just do the very last part of your sign off, because I love it.
Yep, I've been Jake. This has not been Mini Terrain Domain, but I am Mini Terrain Domain, and I'm going to hit you with the old MTD.